Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why you need to visit Mexico, or at the very least, travel abroad before you actually decide to move to Mexico or move abroad. A lot of people out there, for whatever reason, they got the idea that they can just, pick up and leave and move somewhere else and everything's going to be hunky dory. I get it. On my channel, I have actually documented that. I actually, picked up everything, and left Dodge. And before you knew it, I was out here in Mexico. It basically took me about a month. And I've documented that story, on my channel. But I am a bit of a unique situation. Again, as I've talked about, in depth about my story, how I ended up here and everything about that. I've been here over 5 years in Mexico. I came out here with just a few bucks to my name, a backpack, dreams, and I made it happen. It was awesome, amazing. And a lot of people out there, they have the same hopes and dreams to do something very similar as to what I did. And again, I'm not here trying to discourage that. I understand that there's a lot of people that can do exactly what I did or better. But the reality is that there's a lot of people out there that just cannot make it happen. And what do I mean by that? Well, this is why I'm making this episode. I myself was an American, that was trapped in my bubble. And I believed a lot of the, news or information about Mexico that was out there. And it wasn't until I came to Mexico for myself and I lived in Mexico that I quickly learned that things in Mexico are not what they seem. In fact, living in Mexico was very similar to living in the USA. Obviously there's a lot of differences. You can see them on screen as we're driving around Mérida, Yucatan, which is where I live. But at the end of the day, they weren't that different. I've shown you in previous videos as to, again, they have everything here. They got the shopping malls, they got Outback Steakhouse, they got Starbucks, they got Walmart, they got KFC, McDonald's, they got everything. And they got even more things and more affordable prices than what you got back home. But that's another story for another day. That's not what we're talking about on this episode. You can check out those other episodes on my channel if that's what you're interested in. What we're talking about here is the fact that, there's a lot of people out there that, I get it, for a lot of reasons, you are just over it, when it comes to the things that are going on in your country, and you just want to leave. You just can't take it no more, and you just want to pick up and leave. But you yourself have never been through any kind of hardship. You've never been through any kind of situation like that, and you think that it's just going to be a very easy transition and easy move. And that's not the case at all. In fact, you quickly find out and realize that it's anything but easy. Now, for a lot of other people out there, again, for me, and for some of you guys out there in the audience, you guys have been through a lot of hardship. You guys have probably been through God knows what, all right? You've been through everything and then some. When you move out here to a place like Mexico, when you move abroad, just sight unseen, it's more of an adventure, and it's actually a lot easier than you would think because, again, you've already been through probably a lot worse. But there's a lot of people out there that, again, not only have they not stepped out of the USA, not only have they not ever even gotten a passport or even traveled abroad, they never probably even been to, the immigrant portion of their own city. And so, like the old saying goes, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. So, fool. Bruh. So a word of advice, if you're actually thinking about moving abroad or living abroad, perhaps maybe the first thing you should do is try vacationing abroad, try living abroad, try checking something else, abroad. Now, let's say that you're in a position in which you cannot afford a vacation. You can't afford to just, go somewhere and visit, see if you're going to like it, and then go and live there. I get it. Well, then maybe what you can do is that you can go and move into the same neighborhood in which a lot of immigrants move into, okay, in your city or somewhere in your country, okay? So that way you can at least get your feet wet, and at the same time, if you're moving into the hood or you're moving into an immigrant neighborhood, most likely you're going to be paying a lot less in rent and things are going to be a little cheaper. Sure, not much cheaper. I get it. The USA, Canada, all these places are getting out of hand. But at the very least, is going to give you a little bit of a chance, in order for you to save some money and at the same time get to experience what it is to live in some bit of hardship, live with other people that are immigrants, other people that are, again, going through a similar situation that you're probably going to be going into once you move to your destination. Mexico, anywhere in Latin America, it could be anything. I know a lot of people that watch my channel, you guys watch it because, I live in Mexico. You guys are thinking about moving to Mexico. But I also understand that there's a lot of you guys that, Mexico's not your final destination. You're thinking maybe Colombia. You're thinking, again, Guatemala. There's so many places in Latin America, or even, going out to Asia, Southeast Asia. There's tons of places around the world. And so, that's what I try to open up, to people here. So I'm trying to just, get their minds around the fact that, it's a huge world. I get it. There's a lot of crazy things going on right now in most of the world. But guess what? There's tons of places in which, again, nothing is happening. People ask me all the time, hey, Jose, what's going on over there because of XYZ event? How are people taking it down there in Mexico? It's like people don't even care. They don't even know. It's barely a blip on the radar. So, not just Mexico, many places around the world. And so more and more each and every day, as things are getting more and more crazy, it's becoming a lot more desirable for people to leave their situation and move abroad, because they see my channel, they see other YouTubers, and we make it look easy. But the reality is that it's not easy. It's just not easy. Now, again, it's all about the mindset. If you got the right mindset, yeah, definitely easy. It's fun. It's an adventure. You're going to love it. I mean, it's the best decision that you would have ever made. All right. But if your mindset is not correct, okay, you're leaving and you're only leaving, to save some money. You're leaving because whatever, all these reasons that are not the right reasons, you're probably not going to have a good time. It's just the truth. But again, just to go back to what I was saying earlier, it is extremely advisable for anyone that is thinking about moving to another country, moving to Mexico, to at the very least, experience something very similar to that. So again, in this case, if you're moving to another country, another language, another culture, everything is completely different. That's going to be a lot of hardship. And so you got to think to yourself, have I been through a lot of hardship? Have I been through very difficult times? Am I going to be able to deal with this? Am I going to be able to deal with the fact that I might not know Spanish? There's going to be a lot of people talking to me in Spanish, and again, it's not all the time. Again, you're going to find out very quickly, a lot of people out here speak English. It's not as difficult as, again, you think right off the bat. Again, it's all about mindset. But there's going to be times, there's just going to be moments in which you are going to think to yourself, man, did I make the right decision? Oh my God, I'm lost. I'm confused. What am I going to do here? Yada, yada, yada. It happens. It happens to all of us. And the thing is that if you are, not in the right mindset in order to be able to receive this, in order to be able to deal with this, okay, because you've never dealt with hardship before, it's going to be extremely difficult, okay? And, the whole idea of moving abroad is a big endeavor. It just really is. It's just a huge endeavor. And again, if you are, let's say that you are leaving an abusive relationship and you are running away and you are, just looking for some sort of respite, from your crazy, insane situation, listen, you're going to be fine. You know what I mean? It's, you're obviously going to leave a more difficult situation than whatever you're going to encounter here. But if you're just leaving, okay, and you're, again, changing your whole life just because, oh, you hate your job, or things are getting too expensive, or whatever, again, I don't know what else to say, but crappy reasons, reasons that are really not, a major reason for you to move out here, then don't, you know what I mean? Because again, you're going to find how difficult it really is, once you get out here. But again, if your options are, again, being in an abusive relationship, living on the street, not, being able to have any hopes and dreams or what have you. You know what I mean? I can go on and on. You know what I mean? There's really very real situations, okay, in which you need to leave the USA or leave whatever situation you're in right now. And we're not going to go through the whole list of them. There's too many of them. But the point is that if that situation that you're in, that you're leaving, is obviously going to be a lot more difficult for you to deal with, then you're going to be able to deal with whatever difficulty is going to be confronted once you get to Mexico. Whatever awaits you in Mexico is going to be easy in comparison. And like I said, you'll learn the Spanish. You'll learn the culture. You'll learn, to love, so much about, the country that basically, saved you. Why? Because you left a very bad situation. But again, if you're just coming out here for, in a sense, craps and giggles, I don't want this president. I don't want, to work this crappy job, and I'm too lazy to find a better job, and I can go on and on. Listen, it's not going to work out. And again, once you move out here, you got to have income. I've talked about it multiple times. There's a few people out there that, you guys are lucky enough, to have your retirement. Again, lucky in the sense that, you worked very, very hard, your whole life. And, the government is deciding to give you something back in return. For a lot of you guys, that retirement is not enough to survive in the USA at all, or survive anywhere, wherever you're at. So obviously coming to Mexico is an easy transition. It's almost a, unfortunate, necessary transition, something that you're forced to do, to make. All right. But for, the person out there that, has plenty of income and finances, and they're very comfortable, it's a very different situation out there for them. They can come out here and they can deal with the difficulties a lot easier, all right, than someone that is, doesn't have all the resources, might not have all the finances in order to deal with these things. And so that's the thing, if you, are someone that, are really considering moving to Mexico, moving to another country, and just changing your way of life, from literally turning everything in your world, upside down. You better be ready for that, because it's not going to be easy. And again, it's all about the mindset. If your world is already turned upside down, listen, are you kidding me? Moving to Mexico, it's going to be like a vacation in comparison to whatever you're dealing with. And so, that's like a very real thing, that a lot of people just have to, consider and realize that it's again, it's not going to be easy, but at the same time, it's very easy. Living in Mexico for me is so easy. I published a video on my channel a few weeks ago, and it was a video that I had published on my channel basically when I first moved here. And I just decided to re-upload it because, it was something that was very relevant for today, and something that I was saying many years ago. And, at the end of the day, a lot of people were saying, wow, you were a lot angrier. You were a lot more spicy. You were a lot, different back then as to how you are right now. And the reality is because, well, yeah, because I myself have dealt with so much insanity in my life, and so much, craziness. And it's been such a difficult life that it basically trained me for moving to Mexico. Because when I moved to Mexico, yeah, trust me, I had my difficulties and my hardships. And, I've recorded a bunch of that. I've shared basically everything with you guys. And why was I able to not just deal with it, but, again, record the whole process and share everything with you throughout, the whole time that I was here, especially at the very beginning? It was simply because I've already dealt with so much hardship that no matter what happened to me out here, it was easy. Because as things kept happening to me, look, there was a moment in time when I was only here like 6 months, and I locked myself out of my apartment, and I had no choice but to break back in. And when I, busted the window to break back in, I cut myself really bad, and I had to get like 8 stitches. And I didn't have any money at all. And I was freaking out and panicking that I had to, pay for this, because I had just come from the US, and I already know how crazy expensive things are over there. And so I was just doing what I always did in the US, and I was just trying to patch it up and all that stuff, just trying to fix it myself. Until I talked to my friends, my Mexican friends, for some advice. And they're like, bro, you're crazy. Just call the hospital. All right. You got one of the best hospitals, in the city right by where you are right now. Just call them and ask how much it's going to be. And it should be affordable. Don't worry about it. And I was like, wait a minute, you can call the hospital, talk to a doctor, and they'll actually give you a price and help you out. I'm like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they? Bruh. So anyways, I went on ahead and I called the hospital, talked to the doctor, and he told me, hey, you only got about an hour before we can't sew you back up. It's only going to cost like around 1,000 pesos. And that's, emergency room, stitches, medicine, everything. And I'm like, oh, really? 1,000 pesos? And I was like looking through the money I had. I had 1,000 pesos, all right? Give me a break. It was like 50, 60 bucks. And I just ran over there and I got patched up and I got fixed up. And so that was just one of the examples. And I can go on and on. There's just so many things like that where, life happens. You have emergencies. You have things that happen. And all of a sudden, the solution to most of these problems was something that was extremely easy or just accessible as compared to the US. In the US, I mean, I don't even want to get into it, but I remember one time when times were really, really, really tough, and I got a flat tire, and I literally had to beg a friend for money in order to just get that flat tire fixed so I can get to work. And I was working 3 jobs at that time, and I still couldn't afford to fix a flat tire. So, I mean, and this was years ago. This is 10 years ago, okay? Now, again, for anyone that knows my story and has followed me long enough, I've been on YouTube for many, many, many years, and I've had my ups and my downs and my ups and my downs. And, when I came to Mexico, I was extremely down. I was, basically, I was like 1 foot away, one step away from living on the street, from living out of my car, to no fault of my own. Again, life happens. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate out there. And I made the crazy decision to move to Mexico. Now, again, I had a lot of things in my favor. I spoke Spanish. Very scrappy. I like to, hustle. I've made it happen. I've come from the gutter. Literally, I was born in a trailer, for crying out loud. I mean, so I've seen it all, been through it all, and I lived a hard life. And again, I don't say that like, hey, take pity on me. I say that just more like, hey, like a Marine might say, hey, I'm a Marine. I've been through some hard training. That's it. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I'm not saying anything else. I'm not trying to. And so a lot of people out there, you guys are, life Marines, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys have been through some things, so you've seen some things. With that being said, the move to Mexico was obviously, yes, it was like a huge, overwhelming experience. But, as time progressed and things happened, it was just so much easier to deal with things in Mexico. And obviously, as I kept living out here and experiencing things, I quickly realized, oh, wait a minute, I don't got to worry so much. If I have an emergency, I can take care of the emergency. Again, just take certain precautions, so you make sure you at least have a few bucks. But it's not, like you cannot have a few bucks, on the side for an emergency. Where in the USA, it's like, I mean, seriously, you might have a few bucks on the side and you get a flat tire, and before you know it, that's it, you're done. You know what I mean? Or, a multitude of things can happen, and before you know it, you're broke. Or you're at negative, and then what are you gonna do? And again, I'm not trying to say that Mexico is like 1,000% perfect. Mexico has its problems, and a lot of Mexicans. If you ask a lot of Mexicans, a typical Mexican, how are they doing? When it comes to day to day. A lot of them will tell you, look, it's paycheck to paycheck, it's hard, it's difficult, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is that even with that being said, trust me, I know a lot of them. I have a lot of friends, that are just, regular, normal Mexicans. And as difficult as it is, it's nowhere near, as difficult as it is in the U.S. right now, or in Canada, or in other places. So, again, just the fact that even though it's difficult here, just like it is, difficult everywhere else in the world right now, it is, easy for people, that are, living here, that are natives to Mexico, for them to make it happen, for them to, resolve an emergency, for them to, be able to, just, again, deal with whatever life throws at them. Because not only have they lived a difficult life and they've been through a lot of difficult situations, but the way they were raised, the way they were taught things like family values, hard work, ethics, all this other stuff, it makes it easier for them to deal with when life throws them lemons. They basically just put the lemons on their tacos.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
But with that being said, on top of that, they just have a lot more opportunity that we just don't have in places like the U.S. or Canada at the moment. Where they can just simply open up a business, like out of their open their front door, and just start selling something out of their front of their house. No paperwork, no business license, no kind of anything, and no barrier to entry. Basically they can just go out there and hustle and get to work and make it happen and feed their family. And they don't have to worry about, all of these rules and regulations and licenses and I can go on and on. They can just go out there and make it happen. Look, a lot of people out there are complain. A lot of Americans, or Canadians, or again foreigners that come out here, they complain about the fact that, oh, how come my handyman, doesn't wear, the proper gear? How come he doesn't do the work properly? How come, the work doesn't come out as good as in the U.S.? And it's like, bro, you're paying the guy, 200 pesos a day. All right. The guy's coming in sandals. He's asking you to borrow your drill because he can't afford to buy a drill himself. And you're really wondering, why he doesn't know or have the expertise as someone from back in the USA, where, again, not only do they have the expertise because they learn on the job, and they have all the professional knowledge, equipment, and everything of the sort. But if they really want, again, not that they want, they're kind of forced to, in a sense, attach themselves to the grid. And before you know it, an immigrant in the USA working construction, he has a home and he has all these tools and he has all of his knowledge and he has all this stuff in order for him to do a lot of things. Now, granted, they're now tied to that life, and you already know what that life is like. It's the same one that you're trying to escape. But long story short, you can't compare a construction worker or a handyman that's charging you $100 an hour just to show up to your door back in the U.S. to someone that's charging you 100 pesos. Okay? So you got to keep, all that in mind. And so, there's a lot, to consider when you're moving out to Mexico. Again, you got to get out of that bubble. And it's a lot more difficult for some people than others. For me, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I totally understand, when my handyman or someone that I come, call to help me out with something, shows up, with their kid in tow. They basically, wearing sandals. They just have the rudimentary equipment to make whatever it is they got to make happen, whether it's fix the electricity or, fix something in the car or whatever it is. It's that, the whole thing that comes with that, the fact that, they go out there and they make it happen. They go out there and feed their family. They go out there and they learn on the job. They might have some, background in electronics. For example, the electrician, they might have some background in, electrician. They might have apprentices with someone or learned with somebody, the basics. And then they figured out, hey, I'm pretty good at this. They watch some YouTube videos, and before you know it, boom, they're an electrician and they can support and feed their family. Because again, working at Oxxo, working at Domino's Pizza, working at, Walmart, working at any one of these places, again, the local grocery store, the whatever, it's not going to really pay the bills. It's just not. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be lucky if they make, $400 to $500 US a month. So if they get to learn a trade and they go out there and work for themselves, they get to support their family and most likely be able to make a little bit more money. And so that's another thing, for a lot of people out there, that's also imperative, for you when you come out here, for you to be able to learn as you go, for you to be able to have all that ingenuity, all that self-motivation, the ability to make things happen in case there's an emergency. You got to roll with the punches. Again, be able to have some income. I keep mentioning that, having some sort of a job, some sort of something, all right, in order for you to be able to feed yourself. And then on top of that, well, what are you going to do in case the crap hits the fan and, that income isn't there anymore? What are you going to do? How are you going to survive? How are you going to really live out here in Mexico if you don't learn the language, if you don't learn the culture, you don't want to assimilate at all? Again, you don't have to assimilate completely. You can still be American. Look, I'm American and I'm also Cuban. There's many things about me that are just Cuban. There's many things about me that are American. I love, American football. I am a diehard Miami Dolphins fan. Good and bad. We're having a good year finally. All right.
Bruh.
I love baseball. That's the Cuban and the American in me. I love, many things. I love rock and roll. Mexicans love rock and roll. The point I'm making is that, I am myself, okay? I get to be me, all right? There's many things about me that are, again, Cuban, American, and now Mexican. As I've been living here, I'm Mexican. I speak Mexican. When I speak to my family back home in Cuban, sometimes I'm speaking Mexican and I got to stop myself and I got to go back to Cuban because it's like, whoa, whatever. So, again, I not only do I speak Mexican these days, but on top of that, I am also more integrated into the culture, like I now love going to the corner store. And, again, something that I would never even think about doing, where, almost every day, not every day, but almost every day, I go to the store, again, the corner store, the fruit vendor, the vegetable vendor, the whatever, and I go and I buy what they have, what I need for dinner. That's it. Instead of just going to the grocery store and buying, a whole week's worth, or, what have you, of all kinds of groceries and all kinds of things that are probably going to go bad and I'm going to throw away in the garbage. I don't do that no more. I buy a bunch of things at the grocery store. Most of the things that I buy there are things that are going to be, that are not perishable. But everything else that is perishable, no way. You know what I mean? The more perishable it is, the more I'm gonna buy it, right before I use it. So again, like vegetables and fruits and things like that, most likely I'm gonna just buy it, as I need them. Maybe a day or two ahead of time. That's it. Whatever. I get an avocado for a couple days from now. Like today, right before, I was filming this episode, because I'm filming this on a Friday night. All right. As I'm filming this episode, before I did that, I went out to the store, and I the vegetable vendor, the fruit vendor, whatever, and I bought a few things for the weekend. And by the way, tomorrow on Saturday, we're gonna go and do the regular, shopping for the house thing. We're gonna go to, Walmart to pick up 2 or 3 things. We're gonna go to, Soriana, Chedraui to pick up a few things again. Just like you would back home, you go to your grocery stores, you go and shop around, try to get the best deals, try to pick up certain things that are only in one store or the other. But again, I still, make sure that I'm shopping locally, and I'm shopping, at these corner stores, and I buy things there that I can also buy, at the big store, at the big grocery store. But if I can buy it locally, I'd rather buy it locally and help support local. But more importantly than anything else, again, I'm building community. I'm part of the community. I'm there. They know me and I know them. And it's a whole thing. We're all helping each other, and we're all constantly, there for each other. And in any instance, I mean, I'm telling you, I've talked about it multiple times on the channel. And so, for a lot of people out there that, are thinking of moving to Mexico, and they don't even want to leave their house. They don't want to talk to their neighbors. They don't want to do, anything like that. They don't want to go to the corner store. They don't want to do nothing like that. They just want to live the same exact life that they lived in the USA. Listen, you can come out here and you can do that, and it'll be totally fine. There's parts of Mexico, parts of this city, parts, all over the place that the people live like that. The Mexicans are living like that. The Americans or the foreigners live like that, the same way. And then there's the opposite of that, which is how most of Mexico is, which is, they're all within their communities, they all care about each other. There's no such thing as neighborhood watch, because it's already there. There is already an automatic neighborhood watch, like in the US, you got to kind of get all the neighbors together and set that up. No, listen, it's already set up. It's already like an integrated thing, part of society here. And I can go on and on. Like I said, something happens, to XYZ person in the neighborhood. Everyone's like, hey, are they okay? Do they need anything? Yada, yada, yada. And how do you know this? A lot of times, again, you're just going to the corner store, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you're striking up a conversation, and you find out that Mary, your next door neighbor, is not doing so well. So you go over there and help Mary. And guess what? When it happens to you, they're going to come out and at the very least be like, hey, are you okay? Can we get you anything? Would you like some chilaquiles? Would you like some tacos? Would you like some whatever? It doesn't matter. It's the thought that counts, okay? And remember, we had the medical emergency. Was it the flu that shut down the world for several years? Okay. And, for those of you guys that have been with me, through those times, you guys saw, everybody lived out here normally. Again, yes, of course, the whole world was dealing with a certain thing there, but, everything was normal. Everybody, in fact, community was even stronger. People cared about each other even more. As when we were through those times when everything was closed down and there was nothing open, nobody was, even wanted to leave their house. Trust me, a lot of these things, were still, the corner stores were open. The neighbors, were there for each other and helping each other. Hey, Mary, are you okay? Oh, yeah, I need some sugar, but I can't go to the store. Don't worry about it. I'm going to send my son over there, and he's going to bring you some sugar. Hey, John, how you doing? Are you okay over there? Yeah, I'm doing great. It's just a blah, 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 blah. Okay, no worry. Like that. And it was just like the whole thing. It was very beautiful to see. So it's all things like that where, if you are willing to come out here and step out of that bubble and you're willing to all of a sudden now, be able to integrate yourself into this, beautiful life, this beautiful community, this beautiful world, all right, that is living abroad, but in this case, living in Mexico, oh my God, you're going to be so happy. Everything that you've ever wanted is out here. Again, it's not for everybody. I totally get it. Everybody has different wants, different needs. My sister, and lots of family of mine and other people that I know, they think I'm crazy, and they don't even know why I'm out here. And to them, they are living, the best life ever. Living the American dream back in the USA. But there's a lot of other people that, again, all you care for is freedom. All you care for is the kind of a life, the lifestyle that they have out here in Mexico, or at the very least have readily available, because most Mexicans live that lifestyle that you're probably, again, thinking of and want and yearn and desire. But you got to be in the right mindset to be able to live that life and accept that life. And you might think that you're ready, and you're probably not. So this is why you need to be able to, go out there and slowly but surely start getting your feet wet, figure out a way, in order for you to, experience a different culture, maybe visit, another country, and really start, taking that into account as to, am I going to be able to do this or not? Is this something that I really want to do or not? It might be a lot easier to just move to a small town in middle of nowhere America, as opposed to a small village in the middle of Mexico. Now, of course, for some people, moving to a little village or a small town or city in Mexico or abroad, that's the better decision. That is a lot better situation for them than moving to a small town in their own country. But, for some people, it's probably not. It's probably just a better option for you to just find a better spot where you are at. And I keep telling that to people over and over again. And another thing I keep trying to tell people over and over again is the fact that Mexico has it all. No, literally has it all. I know people say that very loosely, and, they mean, oh, Mexico, has it all, but no, literally it has it all. Like everything. I talk about it on my channel all the time. Everything from a Costco to Amazon to, like I said, McDonald's, to going to the mall, to if you want to live in a, HOA, whatever you want. If you want to drive a Lamborghini or a Tesla, they got it all. It's all here. Or if you want to just live a regular, normal, humble life, just a simple life in which you get to really enjoy your life, and your quality of life is extremely important, and it's something that is of most important to you, because that's the thing. For some people, it's all about quality of life. It's all about that freedom, and out here you can definitely get it if you really want to. But again, whether you want it or not, whether you want that freedom or not, you got to realize that this is a free country, and there's going to be tons of people out here that are going to be living that life, okay, like it or not, and they love their freedom, and you're going to have to deal with that fact. Again, for some people out there that they love their freedom, they really don't mind. Of course, why would they mind about other people expressing their freedom and living their best life? But for a lot of other people out there, they just cannot stand that, and they're all about the rules and the regulations and all this other stuff. And so again, even though you can live out here with that kind of lifestyle, it's best for you to just stay home, where all that is enforced, where law and order is, heavily emphasized, as opposed to here, where law and order is a TV show, that you used to watch on TV, that's it. So, anywho's, I could go on and on, as you guys already know. I love to talk. I have the gift of gab, as some people might say. I really enjoy making these videos and talking to you guys, and not just talking to you guys, but walking around, driving around, getting on my bike and showing you, more of, what it is to live out here in Mexico. And so I don't just talk about it, but I like to show you everything about it. And I really hope that you guys are enjoying it. All the content that I'm making, the interviews, the house tours, everything and anything in between. Please, you guys should let me know. Maybe I should do a poll. I should ask you guys that question, what your favorite kind of content I make is. And with all that being said, this particular piece of content is over. We got to bring this bad boy, full circle and bring it to an end, because that's it. We're running out of footage. So I got to stop. I got to wrap this up. So I want to give a big shout out to all my patrons out there. I want to give a big shout out to all my members. I want to give a big shout out to every single one of you guys, all my contributors, every single one of my helpers, every single one of you guys. You know exactly who you are. However you contribute. Again, whether you leave a comment down below, whether you are, sending me a few bucks here or there, whether you leave a like, share, it doesn't matter. You guys are a big integral part of everything we're doing here. And what is it that we're doing here? We're trying to build a community, all right? We're trying to build a community for, people out there that, again, need that help, to move out here to Mexico, to make that huge life change that we were just talking about a few minutes ago. And the fact that, look, when I came out here, I really didn't have any money, any resources in order for me to, pay for someone to help me out or nothing like that. I just had to figure it out on my own. And that's it. And that's why I decided to start recording my experiences and showing you guys, everything about what it was to live out here, what it is to live out here. In order to help those people that eventually, would find themselves in the same position. Many years ago, I thought, hey, we were going to be in the position that we're in right now with the world. I guess I was right. I was crazy back then, not so crazy these days. But what I'm saying is that is the real reason why I started making these videos, why I started this channel. The whole thing was, again, just to help out all those people out there that were going to need that help, and they needed that help for free. Because there was no way for them to pay for any kind of help. There was no way for them to afford any kind of help. And this was such a huge endeavor, such an overwhelming endeavor, to embark on, which is move to another country. I was like, I gotta pay it forward. I speak Spanish, and I was able to get a lot of help, just because of the fact that I speak Spanish, and I can, maneuver around a lot easier when I was here. But I know that's not the case for everybody. So that's why, again, I do what I do. And I'm trying to help everyone out there. Throughout the years, again, I've been able to help you guys even further. There's tons of you guys, that want to talk to me one-on-one. You guys want to have a Zoom call and talk about certain subjects, certain things in depth, certain things that I can't talk about on my YouTube channel, or certain things that I've already covered in, many of my videos, because I've made so many videos. But you guys don't want to sift through all of my videos and don't want to sift through everything I've made. So you guys can have the option out there to just go to my website, and on my website you can book a one-on-one consultation. Now, again, you don't have to do that either. Again, if you don't want a consultation, it's totally fine. Everything for free out there. I got list of jobs. I got list of information for moving to Merida, Yucatan, for moving to Mexico. All kinds of free information, free products, free everything, just free for you to use. Things that I've been able to, again, find in my travels and all throughout the years that I've been here, and I'm just trying to pay it forward. And if you guys want to, again, pay it forward and keep this going, you guys already know what to do, and you guys have already done it. That's why I keep thinking, I don't ask for money, I don't ask for anything. All I do is thank you guys. And that's all I need to do, okay? I'm constantly thanking, again, my patrons, my members, every single one of you guys that sends a few bucks, whether you buy a t-shirt, whether you ask me a question, whatever it is you do. I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, because, again, it's not just helping me, pay my bills, but it's helping, everyone else out there. We're all helping each other out. And that's the thing, because eventually these people that we're helping out, all of you guys out there in the audience that we're helping out, they'll be able to help other people out. And it's just, we're all helping each other out. That's why I always encourage you guys to leave your experiences down below in the comments, because my experiences are unique to me and to my area of Mexico, and where you live in Mexico, where you are in Mexico, might be completely different. So please share below everything. Okay, now that's it. We really got to wrap it up. Okay, time's up. So with all that being said, guys, you already know the deal. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit that bell icon, but more importantly than anything else, please stay awesome. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.